Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I didn't know if I was Economic Ninja or Real Estate Ninja, sorry. I do have a second channel if you want to go take a look at it. It's Real Estate Ninja. I put other economic stuff on there, but we're the Economic Ninja today. So we're going to talk about gold buying. And I'm going to explain my theory and my thesis on that too. But we're going to talk about a story out of Zero Hedge, and it's entitled Central Banks Are Buying Gold at a Record Pace. What does that mean for inflation? But before I start that, what I want to talk about is why I do it. This isn't just some pie in the sky dream of mine that gold is going to go up over time because of craziness in the markets. This happens pretty frequently actually in markets. About every 7 to 10 years we go through a recession and gold holds value as other assets go down, right? And really in economics, when things go bad, everything goes bad. When it's bad, it's bad, right? The Great Recession, we saw all kinds of asset classes fall. And what it's all about is preserving your purchasing power. Why? Because even though your asset might be going down, if it's going down slower or less than all these other asset classes that you want to invest in, like real estate, then what you're doing is you're preserving your power and then you're pushing it into these other asset classes. Now, with that being said, I want people to understand that there are some times that are very infrequent throughout history when gold explodes in value. And where we see that is hyperinflation. Gold does so darn well in hyperinflation times, like what happened with the Weimar Republic in Germany, what happened with Venezuela and other countries like Turkey, their recent bout with hyperinflation. When you own gold, it does very well because it's this panic asset. People panic into it. Well, right now what we're doing is we're seeing central banks are literally panicking, but they panic in a different way than the retail investor. They panic in a way that causes you to think that there's nothing wrong. They buy slowly. They don't buy in big chunks, causing the futures market to explode in price. They're very smart about it. As a matter of fact, central banks do a lot of off-book transactions where they will work out deals to where these trades never hit the exchanges. You see the amounts adding up in their gold vaults. And you go, how is this not pushing the price up? Well, it's because they're very smart about it. They're very methodical. And so people need to understand that I invest in gold because I know the long-term prospect of it is very good, because as these economies collapse and these countries need to print money, because that's going to be their only last weapon of choice, is printing obscene amounts of money, is going to cause the price of gold to rise. Now, the last crash, the Great Recession, we saw gold come down, trickle down in price. Now, I still believe we're going to see a trickling down of price because of some weird things going on with books and with trades on Wall Street, right? But by and large, gold is still holding its value very well. Even if we saw a price of gold dip down to 1,800 even, right? Think about how much more it is than before the Great Recession, which we were seeing like $500-600 an ounce, all right? And then by the time it bounced off of its lows in the end of 2008 to go on a multi-year screaming terror spree from $600 to essentially 1,900 and change, to see it at 1,800 now before a massive debt defaults on certain countries, and to see how much money is being printed, I can't even imagine the long-term prospects in this next wave of gold prices. Now, that's not going to happen overnight, and nobody knows when it's going to happen. But the reason why I vault gold and I've invested and I vault it and store it is because of this kind of situation. But I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. That's very important for people to understand. You never ever do that. You also have a cash position. Why? Because of events that lead to people selling off assets for pennies on the dollar. And yes, like in my situation where I vault gold, it takes me less than 24 hours to sell it and have the money in my bank account. And I have multiple vaulting systems, right? I also don't trust anything, right? So I have everything spread out. I really believe also if you don't hold it, you don't own it. But by and large, companies do not become huge like Brinks by stealing your money, right? And the fact of the matter is, since only the rich people own gold and silver, and very few lower middle class or middle class people own any gold or silver, I don't believe they're going to take it from you because they already own most of it. They already pretty much have 99% of it. And so you are special and different when you own it because you're part of a group, that's elite, right? And you have that elite mindset. But if you think about the sheer amounts you have in comparison to the wealthy and to the central banks, it's very, very small. All right. So that's why I do not believe they're going to take it, because that would cause panic not only among the people that own precious metals, but also the people that don't. They would go, wait a minute, why are you taking that away from those people? Yeah, we don't like that they have something we don't, but there must be something wrong, and you must be really dirty. And they know that. So it's like, look, we've already taken all of that. So now they're trying to take all the real estate. So I just wanted to explain that before I read this story, because I read stories like this and it gets me excited and gives me way more confidence. And I don't care about the day-to-day price fluctuations of gold when I read stuff like this, because I guarantee you they're not caring. It says, a reader wanted to know if central bank gold buying at a record pace adds to inflation. Let's crunch the numbers and then look at the true meaning of the buying spree. Let's see here. So it says right here, Warren B. Mosler noted central banks are buying gold at a record pace and adds to global inflation. A second reader asked if I agreed. And here's the question, inflation meaning, what does central bank buying of gold mean for inflation? The answer, not much per se, especially in the amount of purchases. A metric ton of gold is 2,200 pounds. There are 14.58 troy ounces in a pound. That means there are 32,000 troy ounces per metric ton. As of 11:45 p.m. on today, last night, I apologize, gold is 1952 per troy ounce. 1 metric ton is worth 22, I can't even read all these numbers, the multipliers and everything right now. It says right here, with monstrous U.S. debts and U.S. debt approaching 32 trillion, 7.5 billion, that's 1 metric ton, is not enough to matter and in and of itself. And I completely agree. However, that those tons of gold that they're stacking right now, and they're doing it quietly so it doesn't raise the price, is a big deal, because as gold explodes in price higher in the future, that makes whoever is holding that gold wealthier, as all of the debt and derivatives that literally helped build that gold stash collapse in value. So what happens is, as gold is pressing up in dollar terms and the derivatives and everything are imploding on dollar terms, the person holding the gold under the weight of all this falling stuff is becoming wealthier and wealthier, and it's exponential growth. Again, I want to harken you back to 2008 when gold was $600, and my house I was living in 2006 was worth about $400,000. All right. My house, I bought it for $445,000. So it was worth $445,000 and gold was worth $600. Then that was in what, 2006, 2007. Then we saw a multi-year drop in real estate. And what happened is gold tricked up just a little bit. By 2010, 2011, my house was worth $250,000 and gold was worth $1,900, right? And now look at this. You literally went from $600, $450, $1,900, $250. The gold amount went up so much that I could turn around and go and buy 4 times, 5 times the amount of homes. And that's with just normal leverage, right? I mean, if you think about it, you could have gotten into those homes for literally zero down, because you could have walked in and just taken them off the bank's books and just used the gold as collateral, as an emergency fund for non-paying rents, things like that. The purchasing power is so much more. I'm going to put a link to my gold broker if you want to reach out to her. But and I'll give you the vaulting companies that I use to vault gold. But my point being is that there's so much going on behind the scenes, and as central banks are buying up gold, are literally it is literally the greatest opportunity, I believe, in your lifetime. That's not, or my lifetime. That's not financial advice. I'm not telling you to rush out and buy gold. I'm telling you what I'm doing, right? And again, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. A very manageable percentage of my portfolio is in gold. I also own crypto. I also have cash. I also have stocks. But my stocks are leveraged to the commodities market, right? Uranium, gold, platinum, silver, lithium, things like that. Why? Because I know that the world is in a conflict right now, and they're out there trying to hoard and get all of the natural resources around the world before the world completely shatters into 2 total different economies. And that's a big deal, the East versus the West. Question is, and put it down in the comments, which side are you on, or what side do you believe is going to win, the East or the West? All right, guys, that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.